Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the StarCraft Nation. Zoya here from the StarCraft Squad, and today I have a very special guest here, Mr. Bitter, Ben Nicole. Is that how you say your last name, Nicole?
Nickel, just like the coin.
Awesome. So Ben Nickel, and for those of you who don't know anything about him, you're pretty much living under a shell. He's one of the most popular streams on Team Liquid right now, and first off, we're just going to dive right into these questions. So, Mr. Bitter, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your gaming past, how you got into this. You do a little show on your stream, and how you got into this. Your past. Did you play Brood War, and how you got into StarCraft 2 and stuff like that.
Okay, well, that's a big question. A little bit about myself. My name is Ben Nickel. I'm 26 years old now, which makes me feel really old. And I'm in the real estate business. I own rental property. That's how I'm able to do what I do, because I don't really have to run around working 9 to 5 every day, which is I'm very fortunate in that regard. My background in gaming, I started out, just like every little nerd kid with my Nintendo, but I didn't really get into competitive gaming until the first Half-Life. Played some Team Fortress Classic and some Counter-Strike, of course. And then from there, I kind of graduated to fighting games, Soul Calibur 2, Tekken 5, and a little bit of Street Fighter 4. But Brood War kind of stole my heart when StarCraft 2 was first announced, and I started kind of playing that as competitively as I could, which meant C- Protoss on IC Cup, and then StarCraft 2 came out, and I picked that up, and I've been feverishly playing it ever since. As for my show, that whole thing, 12 weeks with the pros, that whole thing kind of started as my inability as a player, to be completely honest with you. I wasn't good enough by my standards, and I wanted to be better. So I sent a PM to In Control one day on Team Liquid. I said, "Hey man, could you refer me to a good Zerg coach?" And In Control, of course, said, "Well, why can't I be your coach?" And so then I was like, "All right, well, let's do it." And we got him on, and we had like a lesson, and it was great, and I learned a lot. And I decided that I wanted to really do it again sometime. So I said, "Hey Jeff, can we do it again sometime?" He goes, "Sure." And then the little light bulb went off in my head. I was like, "Well, you care if I stream it?" And he's like, "Well, no one's asked me that before, but that sounds cool to me." And so we streamed it, and a lot of people watched it. And by a lot of people, I of course mean like 300. It was the first time I'd ever had any kind of audience at all on my stream. But they liked it. That we got some good feedback, and so I was like, "Well, let's do it again sometime," and we did. And then the next time there was 500 people watching, and we did it again, and there was 700 people watching. And then I said, "Hey, In Control, let's just make this a regular thing." And he's like, "Sure." And from there, no, what really happened from there is he was gonna come one day, and then he couldn't make it, and so he said, "But I'll get Machine to come on for you." And so we got Machine on. And that's when it all kind of came together, and I was like, you know what? I need to be getting on as many guys as I can and getting as much perspective as I can, because the community is really eating this up, and they're enjoying it, and I'm enjoying it. I'm getting to meet all these cool pro players and get better at the game. So, I guess that's kind of where the whole thing was born. Long-winded response to a long-winded question.
It's awesome because not only have you had people like In Control Machine, but you've had the little one on your show, which would have been amazing if I was in your perspective. How was it, just getting to sit down? Each of these pros are so amazing, and they have such huge followings. You get to sit there and have them teach you. Like, what is going through your mind when you're, being trained by these people?
The first time I ever had coaching with In Control, I was a little starstruck also. It was like, oh, I'm playing In Control. I'm so nervous, and my hands were jittery, and I was nervous, and I played bad, and I looked like a noob. And I was like, oh, he thinks I'm so bad, and there was that awe factor that came with it. But then as Jeff came back more and more, I came to realize more and more so that he's just, a normal little nerd I guess a normal huge nerd in Jeff's case. But he's just like me in that regard. He likes playing video games. He's able to, he's fortunate enough to know enough and to be approachable enough to be able to coach kind of as a living. So he's in a great position. But he's just this awesome, really fun, cool guy. And as I kind of met more and more of these pros, I came to realize, we're all just, a bunch of happy little nerds that are just overjoyed to be able to play video games and share with the whole community our passion for these games. So while it's been amazing interacting with these guys, um, the whole awestruck, starstruck factor isn't really there anymore. Because now, after knowing these people, it's just more like, hey, I'm gonna go play some games today with the little one, and he's the nicest, friendliest, coolest person in the world. Not, oh my God, it's the little one. What do I do? Giggle, giggle. It's just this really cool, awesome experience. Just being able to play StarCraft with people who are passionate about it.
That is awesome. Now, for people that don't watch your stream, we'll have a link for it in the description down below. But how many viewers do you normally get every time you stream nowadays?
Well, it depends. On who's coming on, and and really in large part on the time of day that we're streaming. When Idra came on, for example, it was like 3 in the morning Eastern time. I think we started at 2 and we ended at 4. And of course it was Idra, so people still showed up. We had a couple thousand people watching live. But I think for the most part, the most hits we get are on the VODs. I don't think as many people watch live as watch the VODs. Idra VODs have all been seen over 10,000 times. And then even the lesser known coaches, like I think I love you, Gerbil, but I think he's probably the guy that's gotten the least amount of exposure of everybody that's come on the show. But even his VOD's been hit like 5,000 times. So we get a lot of views, and I'm actually extremely proud of that fact. So yeah, a good amount.
That's pretty awesome. Now, back to more of you in StarCraft 2. You play Zerg, for the people that didn't catch that earlier on. Did you start playing Zerg in Brood War, and that's just what you chose in StarCraft 2? Or how did you go about choosing Zerg for StarCraft 2?
Well, in Brood War, I always wanted to play Zerg. But as you know, Brood War is an extremely mechanically demanding game. To the point that to really be able to play the game at all, you have to play at 200 APM just to make units. And then, on top of that, you have to have enough extra leftover hand speed to actually play the game. So for me, Brood War was my jumping off point. I'd played Age of Empires and I'd played Warcraft 2, but I had no idea how to really play Brood War. So I played Protoss in Brood War because it was easy. The TOS units are much more forgiving in Brood War as they are in StarCraft 2. But when StarCraft 2 came out, and with the multi-building selection being the biggest factor, but with just the generally more streamlined UI, I said I want to learn to play Zerg because Zerg's the coolest race, and so that's it, man. I'm playing Zerg because Zerg's freaking cool.
Now, this one would be a user question, or a viewer question, excuse me. This one gets asked all the time to everybody, but what is your favorite unit throughout the entire game? Doesn't matter what race.
Man, that's a tough question to answer. But I would have to say the Zergling, man, the most simple, basic unit in the game. That little bastard gives Zerg so much, between scouting and harassment and just being a vital part of the army when it comes down to engagements. The Zergling is probably hands down, far and away, my favorite unit.
Definitely, most people actually answer with tier 1 units. Now you expect I love the battle cruiser and stuff, but a lot of people actually enjoy those lower level units, and for obvious reasons. Now back to your training. You're getting trained by these people on your show. How much have you improved since then? Like, since you got the first training, what rating in League were you then? And then compared to now, how much have you improved? And I expect it's going to be quite a lot since
Yeah, it's been substantial. When I first played StarCraft, when I first had my first lesson with In Control, I was around 1800 Diamond. And, I felt like that was pretty decent. I certainly had this big swollen head and this big ego that said, I'm good at this game. I'm going to get coaching and I'm going to be a pro now. And that's clearly not how it worked out. I'm still far from being a professional player, but in terms of just raw improvement, it's been drastic. I'm not sitting in the top 200 or anything close to that right now. I probably hover around 400 or 500 on the SC2 ranks. But and truth be told, the way I've been playing lately, it's probably lower than that. But I've gotten a hell of a lot better, and I can see it in my play and the people that watch my stream. can see it as well. I play and practice with top 200 guys all the time. I played a really great game against In Control on stream just the other day that I won. Um, I've taken games off of really, really high caliber pro players. I've taken games off of them. I'm not better than them. I don't beat them regularly, but I've taken games off of them, which is something that I would have never been able to do prior to receiving this coaching.
Awesome. And you're Master League right now. What rating are you at?
3,500-ish. Not super high. Like I said,
Yeah.
kind of mediocre.
It's a little bit better than mediocre. You're cutting yourself a little bit some there, but you're not professional. But it's still pretty damn good and a huge improvement from 1800 Diamond. So that's
Yes.
definitely something there. I forgot where I had a segue lined up for this, and I forgot where I was going to go with it.
Happens to the best of us.
So, what is your goal now? I mean, you do all these show matches now. You're doing one. Was it Cats versus TLO tonight? Correct.
That's right. Tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern.
Right. So you're doing these show matches and stuff. Where do you like? It seemed before when you're starting to get training that you're looking to become a professional player. But now, what are you leaning toward? Are you wanting to become a commentator? Are you wanting to become, one of the, leading members of the esports community? Or are you still trying to become a professional player?
I would love to be, a personality, a known personality in the esports universe. That'd be really cool. I would never dare, utter my name in the same sentence as the Day Nines or the In Controls of the world. But if I could ever, be able to look back and say, oh, look, esports is mainstream now, and I had a small hand in that, that'd be awesome. And my primary goal, I would love to compete at the highest level, and I'm going to try to. I'm going to MLG in April. I don't expect to win, but I do expect to win some games and to get through the first day at least. I do want to compete at the top level, but my underlying goal has definitely shifted to just pushing esports forward, continuing to share StarCraft 2 and my passion for it with the community, and continuing to enrich people's knowledge of the game. I really get a lot of joy out of both interacting with these top level guys, but also of being the bridge between them and Johnny Bronze Leaguer, who doesn't know the first thing about larva injections or creep spread. I really I value the relationship I've built with these pros, and I want to continue to kind of nurture that and to just grow esports in that way.